Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are watching Off the Track, and it is time to drop the hammer.
Man, I got lucky, and it was merely because of my dad's positioning, that when he went to work at RCR to do that R&D engine program in 1992, I stayed here because I wanted to be a race car driver, and I was racing opens at Red Bluff and had a stock car and was racing at Anderson a little bit. And, in my next step, I was going to the Busch Grand National Series at Hickory Motor Speedway. I was ready to go.
There you go.
But, I guess once I went back there for a vacation and then I ended up getting a job, and then I realized, how it's farther than the 3,000 miles apart that you really are.
And what was that first job?
At RCR, I was hired to build an engine dyno for my dad's R&D shop and the engine shop at the 3 shop. So they had 2 different engine rooms, and they were installing these new dynos, and I had some fabrication skills, and they couldn't break anybody free out of their fab shop to do it. So they hired me to do it, and then after, it was just supposed to be temporary. Then after months, I finally told Richard, I'm I need to either get a job or go home. I didn't have a car. Mm-hmm. I was sleeping in my parents' basement, riding to work with my dad every day, going home with my dad, eating dinner with my folks, sleep in the basement, go to work.
And how old are you at the time?
See, I'd have been 21.
Yeah.
21, 22.
That's super cool because I know listening to other people that were kind of in that generation and stuff going, that's just what it was. You would go back east and by any means, it sounds like you just get a job when you could, and then from there you just work your way up.
The glory days of NASCAR, really.
The more you could do, the more you got to do. You know what I mean? And the more responsibility that you got to have. And if it wasn't for doing that, and then I remember the 1990, must have been 93. So the 93 Daytona 500, when Dale Jarrett won and passed Dale Sr. on the last lap, that was when I was out here packing my stuff to move east. Full time, but I had been there since June of 92, working. And so once I finished those projects in the dyno room, then, of course it's almost wintertime, and they're busy trying to get ready for Daytona. And there was only 3 people in the fab shop at RCR.
Gotcha.
So that guy ended up getting kind of flushed right into that. And that was when Kirk Shelmerdine retired and Andy Petrie came on board. So I had to wait to see if Andy Petrie would hire me.
Yeah.
And then, I got hired full time, and I moved out there at the beginning of 1993 and was there. Well, I still technically am there. I still have a home there.
Yeah.
But now I'm both coasts.
Yeah. What's it like when a car goes out and win part of the team, and then you're back at the shop on a Monday after the race you won? What's it like being at the shop in that kind of atmosphere?
It was a lot of fun. It's obviously relaxed because that's the goal when you leave every week. So. When you come back, it was kind of you took a little bit of time to enjoy it and absorb it. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, the victory dinners or the victory luncheons and stuff would happen a week or 2 later.
Oh, gotcha.
For it, because it wasn't, you had to get to the next
event. Next race, yeah.
So you're flying home or driving home from wherever that was, and Monday is unload and get cars tore apart, and get Tuesday it's get the other cars ready and finished up and loaded up, and the truck heads out Wednesday and you head out Thursday, so you got a short window. But I got very lucky, I feel to have learned how to win and be on a winning team, the first team that I worked for. To go to work at RCR in 1992, and be there until 1998. There was a lot of races won and a lot of championships won, and I got to learn from a group of people that, had been there with the 3-car through it all. There was a very tight-knit group of people that had worked together for years. And if I hadn't have been able to learn from the likes of Cecil Gordon and David Smith and Will Lynn and Chocolate Myers and, all those guys as a group, they taught me to think about things that I would have never thought about.
Yep.
It was, you're going there to win a race, but, the approach to win the race was, Will used to tell us all the time, it's don't create mistakes. Just make sure your job is done correctly, and Dale Earnhardt will handle the rest.
Yeah,
give him the opportunity to do his job because he'll do it.
Yeah, Dale.
And so I was on the road for a little while, or I went on the road. I couldn't wait to be on the road full time with a 3-car, right? So the first opportunity that came up, man, it was like, I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah.
And so in 1993, I started on the road, 94 full time on the road, and I took Will Lynn's spot, who was the guy who did all the brakes and suspension work, and he was a rear tire changer. And he was coming off the road after a 25-year run of stretch, and he wanted to stay home. And I was working with him prior to that. Like I was doing his, helping. I was his assistant at the shop, and then we just kind of reversed roles. We ended up doing it together, but I ended up taking the responsibilities he had on the road.
In that span of 6 or 7 years, what were like some of the highlights working on the 3-car? I mean, obviously working with Dale Sr. in that group. That's a pretty elite group in NASCAR during that time.
Those guys are hardcore. I mean, you can't walk in there and be a smart aleck California kid like I was.
Yeah.
Knew everything. Didn't need to be told nothing.
Yeah.
And man, they beat you right in shape quick. I mean, those guys didn't win all those races by accident. I mean, you weren't going to mentally beat them up, and you weren't going to go in there and have some bad attitude. You were going to do it the way they wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
And you were going to fit in with them. And that took a little while. And there was some rough times. I mean, I'm grateful for it. But, I mean, there was a couple times, I mean, I was hiding behind the hauler crying like, man, what did I do? These guys are hard asses. I got to find something else. But, just being able to be a part of that, was something. But it was definitely something you had to earn. It wasn't just like, okay, you're in and you're going to do it how you want it. It was, no, you're going to do it the way we want it done, and you're going to do it how we want it done. But like I said, to be able to know all those people, and have had the opportunity to work with them, obviously, the first, one of the first wins and first championships that, I was a part of. And then obviously being at a racetrack one time, when you want to race and go to victory lane, that's like, wow, that's pretty cool. But it's the thing that I probably regret the most is I remember when there was a team meeting and there'd be 20 people or 30 people. And Richard used to tell us all the time how we were making history. He's like, man, you boys are making history. You're making history. And, I remember the 3 guys that I worked with in the fab shop, we'd all be sitting together and we're like, what's he talking about, man? We're not making history. We're just having fun. And we were having fun, but like didn't probably realize and absorb as much of the history that we were in the middle of when it was happening. But it was special times. I mean, it was obviously the times when I'm growing up and transitioning into being an adult and, living on my own and buying a house and buying vehicles and stuff like that and living life, But it was definitely, I am very fortunate to have had those opportunities and to have met the people that I met, because I don't think that any of the rest of the successes that I've had in any form of motorsports, it was shaped by those early days.
Do you have like a standout moment you might recall out
or a big race that you guys won?
I mean, they're all big, but I mean, I think that like, the first race that I was a part of winning was Darlington. And, like Darlington was a pretty unique racetrack, and I went there and, got to go on a Sunday, ride with the guys and go have a crew shirt and be there and to be a part of a victory lane celebration. I didn't feel like real comfortable because I was still like young and new to the team. So I didn't feel like I wasn't like right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But like to be able to say, man, I'm on TV and I'm going to Darlington Victory Lane with Dale Earnhardt. Like, how cool is this? Beyond that, I think the championships, being, championship 5, he had already won 5, but to win 5, 6, and 7, those were neat moments. And 7, by the 7th championship, obviously I was, I feel like very ingrained in the race team and felt like, was a very big contributor, not just riding along, with it by then. But, those were really good times. And don't get me wrong, there was rough times. I mean, I remember the years when we didn't win races and, Dale Sr. was questioning, could he drive anymore? Or, all those things. But the thing about him that's so amazing is people don't realize, and you go, well, he sat on a pole at Watkins Glen with a broken sternum and a broken shoulder on a road course. And then just refused to get out of the car because he didn't want to get out of the car because, we worked too hard. Like that was his
portion to hold.
Yeah, he's like, man, you guys work way too hard. I'm not getting out. We're leading this race. And it's like, dude, how do you, it's one thing to run a circle track, but like a road course,
turning left and right,
shifting and doing all that stuff. But the desire that guy had to win, was just amazing.